Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I'm back with another video. I think I might start doing a series of story times, but as you can see in the title, today we're going to be talking about how some lemonade ended me up in the emergency room. So first things first, let me just set the scene. Hopefully like the light is not too much because I am outside, you know, and it's pretty sunny today and it feels great, so I really just wanted to come out and record. But let me tell you how this happened, how I even got into the emergency room, where I was, what I was doing. So first of all, this was on like the college campus. I don't even know how this person got on the campus, but this person, it was a lady. I'm not sure if she looks suspicious or not. I'm not even totally sure what suspicious looks like, because this was actually crazy. She looked fine to me. But obviously I should have looked at the signs, like why was the lemonade with no label on it, you know, why was it in a cooler, you know, it's giving very much homemade lemonade, and you can't be trusting everybody's home cooked meals, homemade drinks. You can't really trust nothing that nobody made, especially if you don't know them, and I should have known that. That's street smarts. But yeah, so I was walking back to my campus through another college campus, which is kind of an open campus. So that means anybody can go on it. It's not gated. There's no security, really. There is security. And the funny thing is, I was next to a security booth, but security lets anybody in on this campus. So yeah, I was like, for some reason, I thought, you know, this would be cool. This would be fine. It's just some lemonade. And the lady, I walked past her, she had the cooler open with like a few different flavors with these bottles, plastic bottles of lemonade. And so I was gonna mind my own business and keep walking, but she was like, hey, do you want some lemonade? And I was like, how much is it? Because I'm not really looking for, because a lot of times they give out free stuff. Like sometimes there's free Chick-fil-A. There's a bunch of free food because vendors go on campus. And so I was just gonna keep walking, and I was like, you know, no thank you. I mean, how much is it? Because I'm not trying to pay, but I do like free stuff, so I might just take it. And there happened to be this random guy standing around. He wasn't even a student, and this was a college campus. And after I was like, no, I don't really want to pay, because it was $5, but I'm not really looking for lemonade. I'm not looking for anything really too sugary to begin with. I do like sugary drinks, but I have gotten into a habit of not drinking them. I drink, you know, green tea without honey and stuff like that, just water. But definitely I was like, you know, no thank you. And then the guy kind of popped up out of nowhere and was like, hey, I'll pay for it for you. And I was like, oh, thanks. I should have been like, this could have been a setup. You know how scammers work. They set up a whole plot, a whole script. So I was just there. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And I took the lemonade, and, you know, I should have known, because literally it was like a little bottle of lemonade. It was like clear, but it was so sour. Like there was either too much sugar in it. I have never tasted lemonade that sour before. I diluted it like 4 times into a water bottle, and it was still super sweet. I'm sure they put something else other than sugar in there, because that was insane. Because I split it up into some water bottles, mixed it up, and it was still crazy sweet. They probably put something else in there. I don't know if they put drugs in there, but that's probably what happened. I don't know if my body just went into shock from all the sugar they dumped in there, or whatever they put in there. But yeah, basically back to what the bottle actually looked like. It was a clear plastic bottle, and you could see the colorful lemonade inside, because it was peach flavored. But the only way that you would know that is not because there was some kind of label on the outside or some kind of formal label. It was like the cap you screw off of it. It had a P in Sharpie marker for peach. That's how you know they made it up in somebody's house. And I drank a concoction cocktail of something I didn't even know what was in it. That was on me. So yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, texting my dad and my boyfriend at the time, oh my god, I just got some free lemonade. Pretty girl privilege. I'm kidding, but I did text him, and I was like, hey, I got some free lemonade. And my dad was like, okay, you know, where'd you get that from? He's like, you putting your life at risk. But he didn't really say too much of that. He was like, you should probably be careful, you know. you don't really know where that came from. And then my boyfriend, of course, was like, well, I want some. And then he was like, oh, this is way, way, way too sweet. And so we were drinking it over the course of like the day, because it's not like you could just sit there and drink all of that. This was on a Friday. Next thing you know, I do fast, like, at that time I was fasting from like 1 p.m. one day to 1 p.m. the next day, or 5 p.m. one day and to 1 p.m. the next day. Either way, it was a fast for like 16 hours. And so I called up my friend and I was like, hey, you know, you want to go to this Mexican spot down the street? And it was really about like a 30-minute walk, so it really wasn't that much down the street if you're walking. Maybe if you were driving, it'd have been fine. But I was like, you want to go to this Mexican restaurant? And he was like, yeah. So we ended up going around 1:30-ish. So it kind of pushed back my fasting time when I was supposed to be eating. So, you know, we're walking and I start to feel not right. I feel a little bit lightheaded as I'm walking. You know, my vision starts to decline. I see pixels. It's unclear. It's hard to really describe, but it's like just blurry vision. I'm like, what is going on? And it was pretty much kind of in one eye more than the other. And I was like, oh my, hopefully we can get to this restaurant soon, because I was like, let me drink some water. Maybe I'm dehydrated. And so, you know, I just keep walking and I start to feel worse. And so we get to the restaurant and I'm like, let me just order as fast as possible. And I'm trying to look at this menu and I cannot read it. I'm literally looking at it like I cannot see the words. I have to like look to the side so that I can get the part of my vision on it, my peripheral vision, to like kind of see the words. And I'm really struggling to look at this menu, and I'm looking at my friend like, I cannot read this menu. Can you read it for me so I can get some food? And so I ended up ordering just like an egg, bean, salsa bowl, and I ate that so quick, and it did not help at all. Like, the color was leaving my face. I was drinking all the water. I got multiple glasses. Did not help. I was still getting worse. And so at this point, I started to feel super, super nauseous. I'm like, I just ate this food. I was hungry. Why do I want to throw it up? Like, this never, ever, ever, ever happens to me. And I was getting like the worst headache I've ever had in my life. I don't even get migraines. Like, that's not even something that happens to me. I barely ever get headaches. I haven't had headaches in like years up until this point. And I'm like, what is going on? I think my body is like fighting a demon on the inside. I don't know. I think they really did lace it with some drugs, because that was such a crazy experience. And back to, you know, getting into the hospital, I'm like, so we leave the restaurant after we pay, and at this point I'm taking off my button down shirt because I had a cami underneath. I'm taking it off in the lift because I'm getting hot. I'm getting claustrophobic. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. My head is, I've had like, it felt like what a migraine would have felt like, but I don't get migraines. It was just like the worst headache I've ever had in my life. I was so nauseous. I was trying to keep everything down, but the color was leaving my lips. Like, I felt like I was like passing away, which I'm so glad that is over now. I will never be taking no strange lemonades off the street ever again. But yeah, so we're in the lift and I'm like, I can't go back to the dorm. Like, I really need to go to urgent care, the hospital. So we end up going to the large hospital in this metropolitan area. I hated it. It was like one of the worst experiences ever. I never go to the hospital. And this is why people don't go to the hospital. Like, this is kind of why urgent care was made, because the emergency rooms have no sense of urgency. Even though it's supposed to be emergencies only, no sense of urgency, none at all. And so once we pulled up to the hospital, you know, we put in the address for the hospital, but when we got there, there were no doors that were open. I'm like, how do I get into a hospital? Why is it this hard to get into a hospital? People have emergencies, they have to get in, like, what? And so we're sitting here walking around the building trying to find a door that's open, and I'm like about to pass out on the ground. And we get to the side of the hospital where the Starbucks is on, and the door was still locked, and I just threw up and just sat on the ground, because I threw up 2 times. And just sat on the ground. And then some security guard came and opened the door, and they got me a wheelchair. and they just wheeled me to the emergency room, and they gave me like this throw up bag, a bag that I can throw up in. And then we got to the emergency room, and the staff workers at the front desk are like, make sure you don't throw up on the floor, don't get your throw up on the floor. I'm like, excuse me, this is a hospital. It's like, imagine if I was shot and I was bleeding out and they were sitting there like, don't get your blood on the floor. Like, hello? It's like you're at the gym, they're like, don't get your sweat on the floor. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a place where people need help. They come here when they're sick. You want me to just do what? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I obviously didn't mean to get my throw up on the floor, but this is like the place that people go when they're sick and they need help, urgently. So I'm here. I didn't choose to throw up this morning. So so I get to the front desk, they're asking me for my ID, and I'm sitting here. As they're wheeling me, to the front desk, I start feeling in my fingertips, and the loss of sensation starts traveling up my arm. And I'm sitting here, I start like crying because I'm so scared, and it like crosses my chest across my back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what is happening? This has never ever happened to me before. I couldn't move it, I couldn't feel my arm, like I was so scared. And they're sitting here asking me for my ID and telling me to go sit down and asking for all this information. I'm like, can I just see a doctor? Like, can we figure this out after? Like, what are we doing right now? I need to see someone. And so I sit there for like 30 minutes, then they call me back for blood work and like the urinary test, and they sit me back down for 30 more minutes, and then 30 minutes to an hour, and then I actually go to the back to get a hospital bed, and I'm not even in a room, I'm just in the hallway in a bed. Then they give me an IV, and they don't even tell me what's in it. I mean, I probably should have asked, but like, I was almost gone. Like, my brain was not working how it was supposed to, because I was literally in crisis. So the nurse gave me an IV. Don't know what was in it. Thank God I wasn't allergic to it or anything like that. But like, I think when you have an IV, you're supposed to lay your arm down flat like this. And I had my arm like slightly bent, like maybe like that. And then like I extended it again, and like the IV like rushed into my vein, and it hurt so bad. I like kind of let out a shriek, I screamed, and then I was like, and the nurse came over and I was like, just take it out. Like, I really don't need it. I'm gonna be fine. Just take it out. And they were like, okay. So they ended up taking it out. I'm still waiting on the doctor. This is like, I was there for like 3 hours waiting for a doctor. I'm like, I could have been passed away right now, and I'm still waiting. And so the doctor comes, and they're like, actually, your test came back a little off. Like, some of your ketones were off. But we want to get you a CT scan. That is so expensive. It's like $500 to like $1,500 for a CT scan. I'm like, nah, I think I'm good. I'm gonna just go home, get some ginger ale or something, because I'm not paying you guys this much, because I know the bill was already gonna be racked up. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm like, I don't really want to get a CT scan today, so no thank you. Can I leave? And I'm like, I'm calling my friend, because my friend, he's such a good friend. I called him, and he had left, but he had come back to kind of like sit with me, because the one that I was eating like at the Mexican restaurant with, he came back, and he was kind of just supporting me. I kind of just was asleep for some of the time, because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? My phone was dying. I didn't have my charger, because I didn't expect to be out all day like that. I didn't expect to be out for like 5-6 hours. I was only going to lunch. But yeah, so I was like walking out. I was like, can we just go? With my friend, we were walking out, and the nurse was like, hey, it was another nurse. It was like, hey, are you guys discharged? And I was like, I'm fine. I just want to go. And they were like, you got to sign some discharge paperwork. And I'm like, okay. So I signed it, and I left. A few weeks later, I get like a $4,000 bill for nothing. They gave me some, you know what IV is? Maybe they paid me, maybe it was for the medicine. Maybe it was for the medicine. But an IV is like saline, which is salt water, to help hydrate you. It's like water with solutes in it. That's what they did. I didn't even get a scan. I didn't even get a CT scan for my brain to see if it was some kind of like migraine problem or tumor, like who knows. I don't have no tumor. What I do know is you don't drink no strangers strange lemonade. That's what I do know. So yeah, it was very traumatizing experience. I will not be back to the emergency room. You will find me at urgent care if something ever happens, God forbid, because yeah, I will not be drinking anybody's strange lemonade anymore. But yeah, that's the moral of the story. Take care of your health, guys. Don't take stuff for free. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my story. I hope you learned a little something about street smarts. But yeah, I just like to format these videos to kind of give the style of talking to a friend or something like that, not too much editing. So here we are. I hope you guys liked it, and stay tuned for more videos. I probably will be doing more story times, so let me know what kind of stories you want to hear. I probably will do a poll or something like that for some stories I have. But yeah, until the next time, peace, y'all.